What's going on, everybody? This is going to be your first edition of the new format for Season 5 Talon. We're going to do a quarterfinals recap and a semifinals preview for both Academy and Elite. I'm Swag or Swag Monster, depending on how you know me in the league. Been streaming for quite a while, so I decided to kind of pick this up. Tonight's going to be a little bit different. We're going to do kind of a one-man show, just run through it real quick. As we see people get interested, we may start to involve other people, but this is going to be really dry. I'm not here for drama or tea or to start anything. It's going to be mostly objective for the most part. So as you can see on the screen, like I said, we're doing quarterfinals recap, semifinals preview. So we'll start with the Academy in the quarterfinals. In the 3-6 matchup, we had the number 3 seed LGBT go up against the number 6 seed Watt. I don't know how they performed in the regular season. I know both were pretty evenly matched, but today they finished their game a couple hours ago. LGBT looked very strong. Nox and I believe, were popping off quite a bit. And that game ended in a 3-0. So LGBT will advance. In the number 4 versus 5 matchup, we had Jabberwock versus Anubis Unchained Academy. Actually, in the regular season, Anubis took this matchup pretty convincingly early in the season. I think it was maybe week 2 or 3. They ended up winning, I believe, 3-1 pretty comfortably. And due to some movements, in my opinion, due to some movements Jabberwock made through the regular season, it allowed them to kind of come back and take this one on the revenge trip. And Jabberwock takes this one 3-0. Primarily on the back, I would say, of Tyler and his oversized tires. So it was definitely a close one. There was definitely some moments that could have gone either way, but good matchups across the board. Both those teams, the number 3 and the number 4 seeds, will advance. That makes it pretty simple for the matchups in the semifinals. That makes it number 1 seed Zen's Garden, who finished 9-2, I believe, with only 2 losses. They'll face Jabberwock, and another revenge situation. Zen's gets an opportunity to kind of relive, come back from their first loss of the season against Jabberwock, right around week 8, I believe. And 2-Spawn will go against LGBT, which, in my opinion, is the matchup of the week. Both teams are very strong. We scrim 2-Spawn pretty regularly, and LGBT looked very good today. So I think that could be a very, very close matchup. In the regular season, I believe they were talking about that it went to 3-2 in favor of 2-Spawn, but it was very close. Could have been a reverse sweep opportunity. So those two games will happen this weekend, at some point a week from today-ish, kind of. It's going to be interesting. I obviously a little bit of bias, so I'm going to try and keep it objective. I think it's going to depend a lot. In the first game with Zen's, I think a lot of it is going to depend on how they play. Zen's has a tendency to play this split kind of situation with their tanks and their DPS. If their DPS are popping that day, it could be a difficult situation. Whereas Jabberwock tends to play more as a team. So we'll see kind of how it goes. But there's a lot of flexibility there on both sides. So could be a close one. Regular season, like I said, Jabberwock took that one 3-1. Could be an opportunity for Zen's to come back and move on to the finals in that situation. And like I said, as far as the 2-Spawn versus LGBT, 2 very strong teams. I think LGBT has a lot of their strength in their DPS right now, and 2-Spawn has a pretty solid tank lineup. Justin on the D.Va. Xenot can flex between both the tank and the DPS. In the scrim, he was playing some Ashe and Tracer and was giving me a run for my money, and I like to consider myself a pretty good Ashe. So it was interesting to see that. So it depends on where they kind of slot him. His Zarya is very good. So especially if they have their full lineup with half toaster, things like that, could be a very, very strong game. I don't know a ton about LGBT, but like I said, Nox, I were both very good. J-Sizz on the Ana is always scary. So that one I think is a toss-up. I think that one goes to 5 maps, if not more. As you know, in the playoffs, we go the first to 3. So if there's a tie anywhere in there, you'll have to play more than just the 4 maps. So, and even last season when Darkmount played 2-Spawn in the semifinals, we actually went to 6 maps. So it's definitely an opportunity for that to happen. I think it'd be very interesting. In my opinion, I think LGBT comes out of the one side, And the other side, I have to, just based on the previous experience, Jab taking in the regular season, I think Jabberwock takes the other matchup, which would make it a Jabberwock versus LGBT finals. But I would not be surprised if anything happened. I'm doing my best to be objective. Obviously, I'm involved in 2 of these games. I'm involved in the Jabberwock and the Incognito game. So I'm trying to be objective. But those are the best opinions that I can think of. LGBT looks really, really good right now. And in my opinion, Jabberwock is looking very strong too. I think the fact that 1 and 2 teams haven't played for almost 3 weeks in a game situation is something to really consider. So that's going to do it for the Academy side. On the Elite side, we had the number 3 seed Incognito go against the number 6 seed Anubis Unchained Elite. That ended in a 3-0. During the regular season, Incog, I think, beat Anubis twice, and there was it just followed through this time. Incog's been looking really strong when they can get their full lineup together. They have a really, really strong tank duo in both Magdeal and Minimac. They can play just about everything. Ball, Diva, Ryan, Zarya. They're pretty comfortable with Orisa, Sigma. So it's really difficult to kind of come up with a strategy against them. In the second game, 4 versus 5 is Pastel Vikings versus Atlantis Arinyes. Apologies, Elite. That one was close. It was actually the only not 3-0 in the quarterfinals. Atlantis took that one 3-1 over Pastel, making it the only not 4 seed. So in both Academy 3 and 4 made it through. In Elite 3 and 5 made it through. Doesn't affect the lineup changes very often, the matchup changes. So I didn't get a chance to watch this game. I know that there were some scheduling issues and that could have played a factor into it, but Elite is very dependent on, any game obviously dependent on showing up, but it's difficult when there's only really 6 teams, so it makes it kind of tough for scheduling things like that. So that sets up your Elite semifinals, which is Team Lunar, who has been, in my opinion, hands down the most dominant team. But obviously it's the playoffs, so anything can happen. That'll set up number 1 seed Team Lunar against number 5 Atlantis Elite. And then it'll set up the number 2 STG Elite versus Incognito. I think in this situation, the number 2 game is more interesting. I know SDG and Incog split during the regular season, meaning this game is really up for grabs. I'm on Incognito, so again, trying to be objective. I would love to say that it won't be a contest, but it always will be. There's always a chance for things to happen. And then again, Team Lunar, who in my opinion has the strongest lineup at the moment against Atlantis Elite. So we will see what happens there. I'm not as heavily involved in the Elite scene. I kind of just show up and play. So that's an opportunity on this podcast to bring on people to potentially have more of a conversation, kind of give some insight, maybe get a captain or two, someone from Team Lunar to kind of tell us what has made them so successful this season. Other than that, that's really all I had. I think, like I said, out of the 4 games that are going to go on in the next week or so, I think the 2 Spawn versus LGBT is the most exciting. I think they're most evenly matched, and I think LGBT, due to the ABC kind of fall apart, has really picked up some strong players and has actually progressed, has grown the most in the last maybe 4 or 5 weeks. I think there's definitely a chance for them to take that over 2 Spawn, and not to sell 2 Spawn short. I think they're also very strong, but like I said, almost 3 weeks without playing in a game situation can make it really tough. So I'm out here hoping people prove me wrong. Again, this podcast or opportunity is not designed to throw shade or talk smack. It is my best opportunity or best chance to kind of give some insight into what I see as both staff and member of teams. So other than that, that's all I have. This will go out. I didn't put it in announcements or community broadcasts, but I will upload to YouTube, and then it'll be out there for you guys to watch when Promi does announcements on Monday. So thanks so much. That's me signing out, and have a good one.